Welcome everyone. Welcome to Intuitive Focus and my special guest, the animal communicator, Dagmar. How are you today?
I'm very well, thank you. How are you?
Yeah, good. Have you had a good day? Hasn't been too hot?
Yes, well, it's been a bit warm, but yeah, it's cooling down now, so that's nice.
How are the animals coping with the heat?
Well, they're all standing in the shade and they enjoy having a bit of fresh water on them, having a bit of a cool down, and the chickens are playing in the water as well, so that's been nice watching them.
Excellent. Well, why don't you tell us about yourself, how you got started in animal communications?
I think, like many people, I've always had a special connection with animals, and I always felt that, you know how they're feeling and what's going on. But to actually ask them specific questions, I thought, wouldn't it be cool if there's something wrong and we can just say to them, why do you do this? Or how do you feel? Or what's going on for you? And so I had a really great teacher back in Switzerland, and I did a course over there. And when I came back to Australia, I was telling my boss, who was a horse trainer at the time, and I told him what I was doing, and he said, if you believe in it, you're stupid. I said, okay, fair enough. That's your opinion. That doesn't bother me. And then at one stage we had this horse that should have, performed well, and she didn't. There was no lameness issues. She seemed happy, and we just didn't know what was going on. And he said, well, go and talk to her. So I communicated with her, and one thing that she showed me was that her hip joint just felt like it was a bit out of place, that it wasn't in properly, and a couple of other little niggles as well. And I said to him, we better take her to the chiropractor. So we went to the chiropractor, didn't say a word. I had a list with all the findings in my pocket. The chiropractor went over her, and my boss was just standing there. So, James, tell me what's wrong with her. And James said, oh, she's out in her hip joint. And you can imagine my boss, he just couldn't believe what he had said. And everything that I had on my list, the chiropractor found as well. So we just started making it a bit of a game that every time we go back to the chiropractor, I'd just talk to the animals prior to our visit, and then the chiropractor would go over them and always find exactly the same things that I had on my list. And it got to that point where he said, just tell me what's wrong with them. I might as well not waste my time just checking them, because you're always absolutely spot on. And so then I started communicating with his animals, and we had just absolutely amazing results. And he said, you have to do that as a business, because you can just help so many animals. And that's how I really got started. He told his clients about me, and that's how the ball got rolling.
Okay. Did you have to do much training to...
Well, the thing is, animal communication is a telepathic communication. So it is something that we can all do. It's our intuition. And it's really just to reawaken your innate abilities. So it's not actually like learning a new language that you've never heard before. And that's something that I teach as well. So I teach animal communication. And I always say it's easier than learning Chinese, because I can teach you in a weekend course how you can access your innate abilities. But I certainly can't teach you Chinese in 2 days.
No. Can you run us through what's the, because I know that you offer a lot of courses and that. So how do you get started with animal communication?
Well, when I started with animal communication, one of the courses I did, they just gave us a photo of an animal and said, here you go, communicate with the animal. And we're all like, but how does it work? We had no idea how it feels and what we're looking for. So I never wanted to teach until I really had a great way of, great tools and a step-by-step guide, how I can show people how they can access their abilities. And that's what I've done over the years, just, always adding some exercises and just where I can really show people how it feels when they connect with animals and how they're getting messages from them. So we just do a few exercises first where we connect even between people. We connect telepathically, sending each other messages, and then just, step by step, building up to the point where we will ask the animals questions and get feedback from them.
Okay. So telepathy. So you do that with people as well?
Yes, that's something that we do in our course, because same thing, everyone can do it. And just recently I had a course in Adelaide, and one of the ladies, because I said, it's always great to practice our intuition and our telepathic abilities. And she said to me that her partner works in the office and she works from home. And often she's got this, this feeling, oh, today I'd love a coffee. And she telepathically sends her partner a message that he brings her a coffee home. And she said, 90% of times he'll actually bring coffee home on the day that she actually sends him that message. So it definitely works. I know it does.
I thought he'd just go, I'll bring one home every day.
Yeah, that would
play
be
the
nice.
odds.
No, she certainly doesn't do it every day, but she said when she does send that message, then definitely. And the thing is, we often connect with people, and you think of someone and then they ring
Yep.
you 5 minutes later, even though you haven't spoken to them, and you think, how is this even possible? And a lot of people call it a coincidence, but that's not what it is. And the way I like to explain it is that if I think of someone, then I sort of put myself in their head and they go, oh, I wonder what she's doing, I'll give her a call. And that's how we all connected. And you, like, for example, twins, or often couples,
Yep.
they're really close and they have that probably more than others, but it is certainly something that everyone can do and everyone's got.
So how well do you pick up on people's thoughts? Can you actually read their thoughts, or do they have to be wanting to communicate?
To be honest, I'm too busy to get into people's
Yep.
heads. I find animals a lot easier, as in, animals, they just come from love and they're just great creatures. And also, I don't agree with just getting into people's heads.
Yeah.
If I don't have your permission, when I communicate with animals, obviously the animals, they want to talk to me, but I wouldn't just go into someone's head and to find out information about them, because
Yep.
I had people contact me before saying, oh, I think my boyfriend is cheating on me, can you connect with them? What I have done is connecting with babies, so
Yep.
even before they were born, because in the end, again, you're helping them to voice anything that they want us to know, and they obviously can't communicate in any other way. So I've done quite a few readings with babies, or with babies before they're born. And that was quite interesting.
Can you tell us about it?
Well, it actually started with one of my friends. She's in Western Australia, and she's a vet and a lawyer. And she heard about me and she got me to communicate with her horse. And she was quite a skeptic because, being a vet and a lawyer, you're very scientific. And when I communicated with her horse afterwards, she said the relationship with the horse just completely changed. He was a very difficult horse, and just something clicked. She said the next day he was just a different horse. And that really just, opened her eyes, and she was like, oh my God, there's so much more to it. And that then led her to go and study Chinese medicine. And it really started her journey on a spiritual level. And when she was pregnant, she said to me that she's going to see a midwife who does baby communication. And she said, how about you give it a go? And I said, yeah, sure, that's fine. Why not? Just for a bit of a, trying to see how it goes. And she, it was quite interesting because I got a lot of information about the baby, what he was going to be like. And also she wasn't with food. She wasn't quite sure what to do. And he was quite specific, giving information to her about that. And the next
the
day,
baby was like, did he have a list? The baby had a list. Hey, I want the good food. None of this canned stuff.
What he actually said is she lived a very healthy lifestyle. She's a very, very, very healthy person. And it was more this that she really needs to trust her intuition. And if she's got certain cravings, that she needs to go and eat it. And also she doesn't consume a lot of dairy. And he said, but you still need to have some, because otherwise he might develop allergies.
Yeah.
And she actually did have certain cravings, and that's when she thought, okay, well, if I have those cravings, I have them for a reason, and it's really just to listen to your body and then follow those cravings and eat whatever your body needs. And the next day she went to the midwife and had the baby communication with the midwife, and then she rang me after and she said, oh my God, you need to do that as a job, because the midwife, she just said things like, oh, your baby wants you to eat healthy, and but I mean, that's just common general things.
Yeah.
So it was really interesting.
So it sounds like the baby was pretty advanced for what they were communicating.
Well, it's the thing, you know, even with the animals, we can communicate with animals when they have passed away. We're connecting to their souls,
Yeah,
and I guess it's the same with any beings, you know, if they want to, you know, contact us, they want to bring messages out into the world or to a certain person, then we can certainly do that.
yeah. So what sort of animals do you mainly generally work with most of the time?
Probably 80%, 70, 80% horses, a lot of horse
Yeah,
clients. Then cats, dogs. I've had requests to communicate with fish, chickens, snakes, lizards, sheep, donkeys. You know, it's
yeah,
even a butterfly. You can connect with any animals. You can connect with insects. Obviously, most people don't really have that interest, but it's really
yeah,
amazing to hear from insects what they have to say. And a lot of people think, you know, insects are stupid, but they just have another life purpose than what we do. And it's really interesting to hear from them how they see things, and that they are just doing what they need to do to survive and to enjoy
yeah.
life.
So what? Tell me about the butterfly. That sounds very interesting.
Well, this butterfly actually had a problem with the wing, and the lady who contacted me, she was trying to fix the wing, and she just wanted to know if that's what the butterfly wanted, and if she was actually helping him, or if she should do something else if he wished to end his life.
Okay, so just the wing. But I've got to ask the lizard. What was the lizard? He was after the butterfly.
No, that was actually a different lizard.
Yep.
And yeah, it was really quite interesting because they obviously, again, they do different things to a horse, and because, you know, he was in a glass aquarium sort of thing, and it's been quite a while ago, and he was just hanging out and enjoying his time. He did have some requests about what he wanted in his aquarium. He wanted some sand in it and different objects. And the thing is, you know, if we do what they ask us for, we can always see an improvement in an animal's behavior, because they appreciate that we do help them and we listen to them.
Now we were talking before about cats and dogs. Um, do they are they much different as far as their wants and needs, or?
Well, every animal is different, so you can never
Yeah,
say that all dogs are like this and all cats are like that. But it's quite interesting that just yesterday I was talking to a dog, and this dog was so much like a cat. He just wanted to do his own thing. He wanted to be left alone, and he was happy to sit next to the person, but he wasn't really a cuddly lap dog. And he
yeah,
actually said that to me. He said he really appreciates his owner because she just gives him his space, and she knows that he doesn't want to be touched, and I leave him alone. And we're like that, you know, we have certain preferences, and it's really annoying if someone tries to push you into something that you don't
yeah,
like. And it's really nice if people just accept you the way you are. And it's the same with animals, you know, it's great if we can just accept them for who they are, help them to be the best version of themselves, and that way we have happy animals, which means that we are happy as well because we haven't got any issues with them.
yeah. So have you got any other stories? Because people love stories about animals that you've helped. You must have some good ones.
Um, well, I had a really interesting story talking to a dressage horse, and this horse, the owner didn't tell me much at the time, and I said to her that he was really sore up high in the right back leg, and she
Yep.
said, "That's interesting." And I said, "Oh, you know, why is that?" And she said, "He actually can't put any weight on the left leg. He's standing in the paddock on three legs, and he cannot move. He's really sore. She's had vets out, chiropractors, physios, and she can't fix the problem." And I said, "Okay, let me have another chat." I communicated with him again, and again he was talking about the right side, right up high. So I said to her, "Get a physio in, work on the muscles where the two legs are connected, and you'll be able to fix the problem." So she got a physio in, worked on those muscles, and afterwards she contacted me probably a couple of weeks later, and she said, "You were right." She said, "He's back to normal." So even though it looked like the problem was on the left side, it was actually on the right side. And everyone that came in, you know, chiropractor, vet, physio, they're always
Yeah.
going, the problem must be on the left side. And that was not where the problem was. And
Yep.
I had another really interesting case just recently with a mare, and every time she come into season, you couldn't touch her. She had really bad diarrhea, and every 3 weeks she was an absolute disaster. And when we communicated with her, we really expected to have any issues with her hormones. And when I communicated with her, she only talked about her stomach. She wanted special treatments. She wanted
Yep.
certain foods. And it wasn't really what we expected. And you think, oh, you know, that's a bit odd. You know, I must have been wrong. But, you know, we're never wrong. But when we listen to our animals and they exactly put into place what this horse asked for, and even though it seemed to be an issue with her hormones, once they addressed her stomach, she was so much better. Yes.
Okay.
So if we listen to our animals, we're always spot on and we can help them.
Yep. So is it mainly physical things that you deal with the animals, or do you ever have to like sort of almost like counsel the animals, or like
there's a lot of mental issues as well. We had a horse, for example, that would always go off in the float. So when the owner was taking it somewhere, she would always, you know, be really upset and get hot and sweaty, and she wouldn't stand still and be an absolute disaster. And the owner said, you know, can you find out what's going on? So I communicated with her, and she actually said to me that going in a float reminded her when she was young and she got separated from her mum. What they did is they walked the mother in a stable, locked the baby in, and then walked the mother out. So anything that was, you know, dark and confined, it just reminded her of when she got separated from mum, which was obviously a huge trauma. And after the conversation, a few days later, she had to take this horse somewhere again. She explained to the horse what was happening, where she was going, and just because often you can just talk to them and explain things to them. And she said to me after, she said, oh my God, I don't know what you did, but she just walked in there, she stood in there, she didn't get hot and sweaty, and she was just a different horse. So that's as simple as it is sometimes.
Oh, that's great, because I guess they were thinking about getting horse Valium or something for the horse every time she went on the float.
Yeah,
and it wasn't necessary.
Absolutely. We actually, I had a dog as well. We had this retired greyhound racing dog. Her name was Daisy, and Daisy used to like to pee in the house, and the owner wanted to know why she's doing that. So I said to Daisy, Daisy, why do you pee in the house? And Daisy's answer was, because I can. So that was all that she said. And we didn't really say anything else to her, but afterwards, she never, ever did it again.
Okay. So she was just proving a point once she had a point proven.
And you know, once they realize that we have our needs as well, and that's not really what we should be doing, we can compromise with our animals, absolutely. And even if they ask of something and we can't give it to them, you know, like if a horse says, I want a bigger paddock or I want a different paddock, sometimes we can't change those things. And we can just say to them, look, I'm really sorry at the moment, I can't afford to put you in a bigger paddock. As soon as I've got my new job, I'll shift you. And that's most of the time enough to get them to understand our situation as well, and that they go, okay, she's doing her best she can.
So when you so what's the basics? How do you basically go about starting to communicate with animals? Do you just
as in you mean if you have no knowledge of it at all?
Yeah.
Well, as I said, I've written a few nice exercise brief information, and it just shows you how it feels for you, because every person is different. So I can't tell you how you're receiving the messages, because the messages come through in words, thoughts, pictures, feelings. So for example, if I talk to an animal about pain, I feel the pain on my own body, but every person is different. So you might receive it differently. It's really how the unconscious mind translates it for you in a way that you understand it. So what I do is I do exercises where I just show to people how it feels and how they receive the messages. to just become aware of that. And once you know what it feels like and how the messages come through, then it's a lot easier to get to the next step. Because most of the time, you know, people, even they say, oh, you can do it, but I don't think I can do it. You know, we're very judgmental and self-critical, and that's a big part in my courses as well, to just give people, you know, the hope and showing them, yes, you can actually do it too. But the thing is, again, if you communicate with your own animals, people know them so well that they think, oh, I'm just making it up. This is actually not what I'm getting from the animals. So that's why exercises with animals they don't know are always handy as well, because that proves that, hey, they can actually communicate with other animals. And even the exercises where we communicate from person to person, people are always quite spot on, even though they haven't got a lot of experience. And that just gives them the confidence to believe in themselves, because that's really a big part, is believing in yourself and in the messages you're getting. And I've had situation where I communicated with a horse, and the horse told me that he was really sore in the right shoulder. And when I told the owner, she said, no, she said, there's nothing there. He's not lame. There's no swelling, absolutely nothing. You know, basically that's wrong. And then a couple of weeks later, she had to put this horse to sleep, and they did an autopsy on it. And when they cut him open, they found that the shoulder was full of cancer. So he was spot on. And it's really trusting that. And, you know, once you have communicated with as many animals as I have, I know that I can trust what I'm getting from them.
I guess with experience, you just get that reassurance with yourself.
Yes. And even when the owners say, oh, you know, it's wrong, because I was even talking to an animal and it had a foot abscess. But at the time, the abscess was just in the foot. There was no signs. It hadn't come out. And the owner said, nah, there's nothing there. And I said, you know, just write it down. It'll make sense later. And then a few weeks later, he went back to his notes and he went like, oh, well, he's lame now in that foot. So there was obviously already something there, but we just couldn't see it.
Do you talk, like, verbally talk to your animals?
Yes, So if there's no one around, I just talk to my animals. I mean, a lot of people do, you know, we just have these conversations. But obviously, if there's people around, or, you know, some people they don't really understand or they think it's crazy, then you can just connect with them telepathically, like without talking. So it doesn't really matter whether you talk to your animals or what you think. The important thing to know is, you know, a lot of people say it's the tone of your voice, but it's not the tone of your voice. It's actually what you're saying. Because, you know, I had a lot of animals, you know, horses say to me, I don't have a fat ass, excuse my language. And the owners, oh, yeah, I always tell her that. So, you know, if you offend your animals, they understand every word you say.
Because my brother's got a crazy cat and I always say it's nuts.
Yes.
Yeah. Sorry,
the cat probably thinks you're nuts too.
Oh, yeah, that's okay. We'll get an understanding. So with with your courses, how quickly do people generally pick it up?
As I said, I normally do. Now I do a lot online because of you know, COVID and in-person courses, because I used to travel interstate once a month to go to different places and teach all over Australia, Europe. And that's normally a 2-day course. And after a 2-day course, people are confident that they can hear animals and their messages. My online course is a 6-week course, once a week, with a bit of homework as well, doing a few exercises. And it doesn't really matter whether it's online or in person, because you're connecting telepathically anyway. So it doesn't matter where people are. It always works.
So you've had to cancel owners about saying things to their animals, so their animals are like really upset with them?
Well, I think it's just often that people don't realize how much animals understand. I had a fairly large dog, and this dog said to me, he compared himself to Dumbo the elephant, but he said, I'm not dumb. And when I told the owner, she told me, well, we always call him Dum Dum.
So he was just, that really got to him. He was just like, you keep picking on me.
Yes. So, you know, and sometimes as well, you know, if you tell your animals, they are dumb, they go, well, okay, that's what I give you then. So they're not going to make your life easy. You know, it's a good
So they can be
excuse for
rebellious
them.
too.
Well, absolutely.
Okay, I'm gonna have to start
Definitely.
talking to my brother's cat a bit better. My cat's good, we're good, but yeah, his cat's just off tap. So what about with cats doing a lot of hunting? Is there any way you can get them out of that?
The problem is, in the end, whatever animals do, it's in, you know, it's in their DNA, or,
Yeah,
you know, that's what they're born to do. So stopping animals from hunting, for example, can be quite difficult, because that's just what they want to do. That's, you know, yeah, for with cats, you know, chasing birds. I just recently was talking to a dog, and this dog was telling me that he's pulling the washing off the washing line, and the owner, she just laughed, and she said, "Can you tell him not to do it?" And for him, it was just this thrill when you grab a piece and you rip it off and it comes off. That's so exciting for this dog. So I said to her, you know, I haven't heard back, but, you know, the dog said, just, you know, hang some towels, old towels or something up for specifically for the dog, so the dog can still play that game, because it's just a game for them.
yeah. So they just get caught up in the moment and they're just excited.
That's it. You know, a lot of people say to me with their dogs, you know, can you tell my dog not to chase snakes? Surely we can say that, but they're a bit like kids, you know, if you tell a child don't run on the road, but if you throw a ball on the road, what are they going to do? They run on the road, because they just in
Yeah,
that moment and, oh, the ball, and they run on the road. And it's the same with snakes. Dogs know not to chase snakes, but when they see a snake, they get so excited. Oh, there's something wriggling. Let's go and have a look.
yeah,
And yeah, it's just what they do in the moment.
yeah. Well, I used to live in the country and I had a few cats, and um, you'd never get too attached to the cat till it got through a summer, because that's either,
Yeah.
yeah, unfortunately, but they did keep the snakes away though. So
Okay.
what was I going? So with the dogs, is there anything that I just had something on my mind just a second ago. Have you got any more dog stories?
Dog stories. Well, we had quite a few interesting stories with, you know, dogs being missing and then being able to locate them, because they can tell us what they can see from where they are. We even found birds. You know, there's a galah that had flown away, and the galah told us exactly what he could see and where he wanted the owners to go, with a cage. And they went there, and all of a sudden, all these galahs came flying, and their galah was in that group as well. And he just came down, and they could grab him and take him home.
Oh, so you told the galahs to come down and bring the other bird with them?
No, no, he was just, you know, he escaped from home, and then he was just flying around with these galahs, and but he told
Yeah,
us what he could see and where he was, which then meant the owners could go there and call him, because he still had that connection, obviously, with his people,
yeah.
and he loved his home. So it wasn't really that he was unhappy that he escaped.
He was just running amok, just out hanging
He
out.
was, that's it, yes. And even,
Yeah,
you know, as I said, with dogs,
yeah.
when they go missing, we can find out where they go, what they can see from where they are, and just being able to sort of have some indication where to look for them.
So you have a big success rate with your courses. Well, I guess it depends on the individual.
I say that everyone that does my course will pick up how to communicate with animals, but the same thing is then again that, you know, you still have to practice. It's the same with everything. If you learn a new language and then you don't use it, you're just gonna not get
Just
any better. So it's
yeah,
really, you know, doing exercises and communicating with animals. The thing is, you know, once people have done a course, then they just surrounded by their own animals, and then it can be hard again, because they go, oh, I'm just making it up because I know my animals so well.
yeah, which is easy done. Um, so what about, do you talk to the animals that you talk to? Do some of them, like, do they see stuff in the spiritual realm?
Absolutely, yes. We, for example, even with my own dog, when I had to put my cat to sleep, he was 18 at the time, And when I came home that evening, my dog was on my bed and she was asleep. And all of a sudden, she just sat up and she just looked to the door. And I know that my cat walked in, as he always used to do, because my dog would just stare to the door and would not take her eyes off, and then just followed something, and then eventually went back to sleep. But I know that my cat actually came and visited.
Yeah, I get that when I'm going to sleep. I know that my door's closed in my room. And there's no animals in my room, but I feel a cat jump up on my bed, and I'm like, okay.
Is that a cat that you had, you think?
I've had a few cats. I've had a couple
Yeah.
of dogs, and I've had a few cats, but it's like I feel like the cat jump up on my bed and move around, and I'm like, wait a second, the cat's not in my room, and I'm just thinking it must be one of my old cats coming to visit me.
Yeah. And even, when we connect with animals that have passed away, we can ask them about, what happened when they died, and where they are now. And I've had animals say to me, I like the yellow flowers that you put on my grave. And how could I know that? And the owners, they're just so relieved, because often when you put your animals to sleep, you feel guilty. Have I made the right decision? Should I have waited longer? Should I have put them to sleep earlier? But animals know that we do the best we can with the knowledge we have at the time, so they never go, oh, you made me suffer, or anything like that. They know that we're doing the best we can.
So has this has improved drastically, the relationship that you have with your animals?
Yeah, absolutely. And even people that do the course just for their own animals, and realizing how much your animals understand, and being able to just appreciate them for who they are, and respecting them. Because in the old days, it was like, I'm the boss and my animal just has to do what I want them to do. Where now people coming to the realization that it should actually be a balanced relationship with our animals. And if we can appreciate them, if we can help them the best we can, we have such a better relationship with them.
So do most cats like dry food or wet cat food?
Well, there's a lot of, especially, cats make me laugh when it comes to food, because a lot of cats, they go, oh, I just want something different every day. Or they can be quite fussy, and, you feed them and, oh, they don't like this food today and they want something else. Where dogs are probably more appreciative of what they are getting, where cats can be quite more fussy. And in general, there's a lot of animals, they're not that keen on their dry food. So they prefer the wet food, or, fresh meat. But cats are probably a bit, they know they can boss us around. They know that, oh, well, if I don't eat that, she's going to give me something else.
Yeah, I get that with my cat, and it gets funny with its food, and then I get another canned food, and then it's like, no, I don't like that. And I'm like, well, until it's gone. So you go through that can, you can keep walking away until the can's empty, then you get some more.
Yeah, but they just, sometimes they will not eat it. They're like, no, I'm not eating it. And you can do whatever you want. If they don't want to eat it, they're not going to eat it.
And that's it. You know where the dry food is.
Well, that's it. I can just see there's someone that asked a question. So they know when we speak to them. So yes, animals absolutely know when we talk to them, and it doesn't matter if we verbally talk to them or if we just think it. So that's why it's really important that we also think clear messages, and that we don't even offend them in our thoughts, because they understand everything we are saying. A lot of people have experienced that themselves with dogs. When you go, I might take my dog for a walk. And before you even get up, your dog's already
waiting by the door.
Yeah, and you think, how is that even possible? Or even, my friend was telling me that they would sometimes drop their dog off at a friend's place and go on holiday, and sometimes 2 days, sometimes 10 days, and it didn't matter how long they went, always on the day where they come home, the dog would be sitting at the door. They just know.
I thought it just knew the sound of the car.
Nope. They've done some experimenting where people come home at different times. They come home riding a bike, by foot, sometimes in the car, and the animals always know when they come home.
Okay. I had one of my dogs, and he was always quiet, but everyone used to say when I left the house, he used to bark and run amok. Did you get that much?
Yes, and it's quite funny. A lot of people are really anxious about leaving their animals behind, and they think that their animals are anxious. But often animals or dogs, they create a bit of a drama when the person leaves, and as soon as they left, they're like, yeah, whatever, and they just go and do their own thing. So yes, some animals are absolutely anxious when we leave, but other animals,
Yep.
they think it's a great opportunity to just, go and hang out, do their own thing. So it's really talking to each individual and to each animal to find out how they feel about it, because you can't say every time you walk out the house they get anxious. It really depends on the animal.
I've got my cat's just over here. Would you like to have a?
Yeah,
I want to
absolutely.
talk to my cat. I'll just go and get it. She's sleeping, so she's going to be
Probably not very
grumpy.
happy.
Candles. This is Candles.
Candle.
This is Candles.
Yep. How old is Candles?
I think about 5 or 6.
5 or 6, yeah. Can you turn, is it a boy or girl?
Girl.
A girl.
Candles.
She tells me that she's a very spoiled girl, and she also she says she's very happy in her family, but is she a bit funny with strangers?
A little bit. She's got a young cat that just ticks her off. She's always fighting with.
Oh, you've got a second cat as well.
Yep.
Okay, but she's telling me she's the boss.
Oh yeah, she's the boss. She's in charge. Yep.
And she says she doesn't like it when she gets locked out.
Okay. Why doesn't she come in? I always call her in.
As in when she's outside.
Yeah. Candles. Yeah, she stays outside, but it's when I go in and out at the end of the night, it's like I call the cat and then she's.
She says she's a bit of a typical cat, as in she's saying she wants to do her own thing and she doesn't like it when she's getting bossed around.
Okay.
But she also says with people she's a very friendly cat. So she's you know how some cats, they can get their claws out and stuff, where she's saying she's quite a gentle cat.
Yep.
But she also says that she has tasks that she has to do as a cat.
Okay.
So she's telling me that she enjoys to she doesn't show me mice, but she shows me birds.
Yeah. She does both, but not that often. I don't see much. Occasionally she'll bring me one. But the other one, so she wants the cat door, doesn't she?
Candles.
Yeah.
Well, she's actually saying she doesn't mind so much, because it feels like she's still getting what she wants.
Yep.
She's letting you know whether she wants to go in or out, and it she says that you're a good servant as such.
Oh.
Have you got any specific questions for her?
Not really. Yeah, just does she need anything? Does she need anything? How can I help her about the other cat? She gets really cranky with the other cat.
She says she's talking about her territory, and she says she doesn't like when the other cat comes too close or too much into her space.
Yeah.
And it's a bit like if she's outside and the other cat is inside, that's okay for her, but it's just this close interaction that she doesn't like. And what's the other cat's name?
Ray.
As a boy?
It's a girl. It's a young girl.
It's a girl as well.
Like a tiger.
because
want me to get it?
the other cat seems to be more of that kind that she wants to make friends, where
Yep.
Candles doesn't really want to have anything to do with it. So it's a bit
Oh,
of a
yep.
difficult situation, because one cat wants to go there and be friends, and the other cat is, no, I don't want to be friends, go away.
Yep.
So you've always got this, them one following the other a bit.
Yep. Candles is a loner, and the other one came from a
Yes,
country
yeah,
with a
that
lot of
makes
cats.
sense.
So
Yeah,
it
yeah.
wants to
But
hang out.
I mean, it sort of feels they've got their routine, and Candle's just going like, piss off, leave me alone. But I don't feel that she's totally unhappy about the situation, because she knows how she can get what she wants. She's saying
Yep.
she's just telling the other cat off when it gets too much for her.
Okay, so that's good then. I thought it was
So
stressing her out.
basically, don't come in my space. But she's the stronger one, so she's saying, oh, I don't care. I just tell her off.
I used to walk up to her bowl, if the other cat looks at her, she's just like,
Yes, yeah. But your other girl, she's telling me that she's quite an affectionate cat, and it nearly feels, because she's not able to be friends with Candle, that she therefore
yep.
finds the affection from you guys.
Yep.
So that's really nice for her. She's not missing out on anything. She would like to be friends with Candles as well. She's actually saying that Candles is a great teacher in a way.
Yep.
But yeah, she's saying that she still gets what she needs, and she comes across a bit like a baby. She's a bit needy in that respect.
Yep. Yep. Yeah, she just chases Candles, and Candles just jumps a couple of fences, and I'm like, I'm out of here, don't want to deal with you.
Yes, but it doesn't upset Candle in a way. It's same with us. Sometimes we have people come to us and we don't like him, and we just get out of their space, really.
Yep.
So sometimes we also have to go, we need to let animals sort that situation out. We can't do much about it.
Yeah. Oh, well, that's good, because I thought that Candles was stressing right out about it, but apparently she's good with it.
It's not so much as stressed out. It's more just being annoyed.
Oh, yeah.
But again, Candles knows how she can tell the other girl off, so it's not a huge problem for her.
Oh, that's good. That's good. I was just worried that Candles was getting older and it was just becoming an issue.
Yeah, no.
That's okay. Well, thank you for that. Now, how has this animal communication helped you spiritual walk? What has it shown? What has it shown you?
It's just a journey that we're on, and I think the more you get into it, and even for other people, I was telling you about my friend in Western Australia, the more you get into this kind of work, and you realize that, hey, we can connect with spirits, we can connect with all beings. It's really, for so many people, animal communication. They do my course, and it just helps them in their whole spirituality and on their path, because you realize it just opens your doors to everything. And because once you can connect with animals, you can you can connect with the universe. You can ask questions about anything, really. Once you know how to do that, it just opens the doors to so much more. And we're just having a play around with that at the moment too, doing different things. And it's just absolutely amazing. So I think it's just really great way to start your own spiritual journey as well.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, because I was reading on a book on Aboriginal healing, and it was a really, really remote, in the middle of nowhere type place, 1,000 k's from anywhere. And the gentleman that went there was saying, apart from the kids carrying on and mucking around, he said the adults hardly spoke, because they were all just communicating telepathically. And I'm thinking, wow, people don't realize how much out there it's going on. They think, because as we're brought up in the Western world and all that, they go, oh, that's all hocus pocus. And it's amazing to find out that it really is not.
But I mean, that's what they teach us in school. In school they teach us we only believe what we see, what we can sense with our five senses, and anything that we can't prove, is rubbish, and they should be teaching us about intuition and our gut feeling and trusting all that, and they don't. And that's why, you know, children are amazing at it. You know, they're really, I had a 10-year-old girl once, and mum rang me for the course, and she said, look, my daughter would love to do your course. And I said, I can't judge that. I don't know your daughter. I said, you know, we're doing meditations, we're doing a lot of quiet exercises. I let you be the judge if you think your daughter is up to it or not. And her daughter came along, and all the adults, they were so jealous because she was absolutely amazing at it, you know, because they're so close to source, and they haven't had that they learn to mistrust their intuition, and they're judgmental, and they judging themselves all the time. So they just put it out there. And you can do that with kids, you know, if you have young children. You can say, oh, what does the dog want? And they'll give you a clear answer. Oh, the dog wants food, or the dog wants this, the dog wants that. They don't even think about it because they actually connect with them. They connect with, you know, the grandparents that have passed away. Oh, I just spoke to granddad. And what do adults say? They say, oh, don't be silly, you know, he's not here anymore. And they go, oh, what I'm doing is wrong. And that's why they stop communicating that way. But if we can encourage that in kids, absolutely amazing, absolutely fantastic. I really want to start teaching children as well, you know, that they just don't lose that ability, because it's so much easier in their whole life to trust their intuition and gut feeling, even, you know, with people, when they meet people going, there's something fishy. And it was actually interesting. In one of my courses, I had a talk, and there was a guy in the talk, and he only came along because his daughter couldn't make it. She was in hospital, so he just joined his wife. And we did an exercise, and I said, oh, do you want to do this exercise with me? And he said, no, I'm good. So it was really great that he actually came along, but he didn't really believe in it. And I had a chat to him, and he was in the army for 40 or 50 years. What do you get taught in the army? You know, it doesn't matter what intuition you have, what your gut feeling it is. You know, if you think you shouldn't be doing it, you get taught to just follow the orders. So people that have been in the army for a long time, they've totally lost that intuition and gut feeling, because that's not what we want for people in the army. And, you know, for people like that, it's really hard. Where people that are, you know, intuitive, like, you know, you or others, who have that a bit more, it's a lot easier, obviously, to pick up. And, you know, I had people in my course, they say, oh, I close my eyes and all I see is black. So, you know, they are the trickier ones, but they still can learn how to communicate with animals as well. But it's probably a little bit more tricky than people who are a bit spiritual and know that we can communicate telepathically.
Well, it's just opened my eyes, because people think that they have to have all these gifts, and when it just sounds more like, you know, a synthesis of developing your connection.
I have a lot of people, they say to me, oh, you know, you're so normal. But, you know, it's not this airy fairy thing that people are trying to make of it. You know, some they are all this airy fairy, but that's not what it is. It's something everyone can do, and it's no magic.
So working with kids, are you looking at doing that? Do you just teach stuff to do communicating with animals, or do you teach all sorts? Because you're a healer as well, aren't you? An energy healer.
I do energy work, yes. I was just working on a horse that the owner actually thought she'll have to put the horse to sleep because she has got feet issues, and I've done some distant Reiki on the horse. But also communicating with the horse and understanding what the horse wants. She contacted me. She said, oh, you know, this horse is just 10 times better after we've had the session with the horse. So it's also understanding. And a lot of times animals take on our issues as well. So if we feel bad about the horse, we think, oh, my horse is feeling so bad. And you know, we put all this negative and bad energy on our animals. And if we can change that, then we can already help the animals, if that makes sense.
Well, if they're already reading us, that just sort of makes sense, that like they're automatically picking us up as we're thinking.
Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, us owners, we always worry about our animals, and if our animals are unwell, we look at them, we go, "Oh, you poor thing." But if you're unwell, and I say, "Oh, you look terrible today," you're like, "Oh yeah, I feel like shit." But if I say to you, "Come on, the sun's shining, let's go outside and just sit in the sunshine," that makes you feel a lot better. So I always say with
Yep.
the animals as well, don't worry and don't focus on the negative stuff. But, for example, if your cat is injured, rather than looking at the injury all the time, just say to your cat, "Oh, cat, I love when you cuddle me and you're so sweet and I love your coat." Just find something positive about your animals, because we put that negative energy on them.
Yeah, I always tell my animals how nice they are.
Yes, yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
I just
Candle
see
does
that
get spoiled.
I just see
Sorry.
there's another question.
Yep.
An Aboriginal man told me before that if there's ghost like a spirit around, apparently you can look between the ears and see the spirit. Is this true? Oh, that's actually a question for you or for both of us. Apparently it's the same with dogs. So do you want to answer that first, or should I answer that
No,
first?
you can answer that.
Okay, well, I had once a lady say to me in one of my courses that this animal communicator had said to her that horses only communicate in pictures. And I don't agree with that. I think it's the way, obviously, this animal communicator receives messages. So again, there's no right or wrong, So some people might see them that way, spirits, but um, I don't think that you have, So that's probably working for that person. I don't know, but I don't think that's the only way you can do it, So I think you can connect with spirits in a lot of different ways. I don't look at an animal if I want to connect with spirits. So yeah, in my opinion, there's so many different ways you can connect, and every person is different. So there's no right or wrong to this, really. What do you
No,
think?
I was going to say, if you're looking at the animal to connect with the spirit, the animal's just going to turn around and go, "Hey, you were the one that wanted to connect with the spirit. I'm good where I'm at." You know.
Yeah, yeah.
No, I don't know. Not sure at all. So what are the funniest animal comebacks that you've had from animals, like dealing with animals?
Well, the
Like,
funniest thing a horse has said to me is, "I'm a VIH." And I said, "What is a VIH?" And he said, "I'm a very important horse."
so a horse with an ego.
Absolutely. And, I had a horse say to me that he is lame sometimes, but he said
Yep.
that he's just putting it on because he doesn't want to do the work. And that was actually and when I told the owner, he said, "I knew it. I just knew it." And I said to the horse, I said, "Why are you telling me that?" And he said, "Well, all the roads lead to Rome." It was a bit this, if they know that he doesn't want to work on that day, they can just go and maybe do something else. It's again about compromising,
Yep.
Sometimes you might come home from work and you go, "Oh, I was going to do housework, but I don't feel like it." So you're not going to do it. Why do our animals always have to do what we want them to do? It's great
Yep.
if we can compromise and say, "Okay, well, we're not doing it today. How about we do it tomorrow?"
Yeah. No, that's fair enough. I guess we all feel like that some days.
Well,
I had a day.
absolutely. And
Yeah.
and our animals don't always feel like working. So if we can go, "Okay, let's just hang around then today and maybe we'll work tomorrow." Because again, it should be an equal partnership. It shouldn't be, "I'm the boss and you just have to do what I want you to do." And if we have that kind of relationship with our
Mm.
animals, we'll have a much better relationship.
So you must get do you get a lot of issues like that with because you work a lot with professional horses?
Yes, obviously a
Yep.
lot of competition horses. And
Yep.
again, there's a lot of horses that love doing what they're doing. Then there's some horses that don't like it. And I find with the jumping, it makes sense to the horse because we're going from before the jump to after the jump. So it makes sense what they're doing. Where in the dressage, we're riding around in circles and they've done a perfect circle. And then we're going around again. And they're like, "What are we doing?" Again, some
Do you
horses,
know?
they love it. But other horses are going, well, I've done a perfect circle. Why do I have to do another 20 of them? So, but again, there's race horses. I've talked to race horses and they said to me, I'm the fastest racehorse on this planet. And they're telling me this racehorse runs last all the time. But they think they're great. So, same
Have
as us.
Have you shattered any horses' egos?
Sorry?
Have you shattered any horses' egos?
I wouldn't do that.
Okay.
If this horse thinks he's the fastest racehorse, that's great. And we don't really want to put him down and say, well, you're actually very slow.
I just thought he might lift his game.
Well, the thing is, some horses, they might not be fast, but they might still enjoy what they're doing.
Oh, yeah. So he's still into it.
So, yeah, it really depends on each animal, and we really have to communicate. A lot of people say to me, are you a behaviorist? But a behaviorist actually looks at the behavior of an animal, and then they just guess what could be wrong. And I tell you a funny story. I was feeding my horses one day, and I've got my boy, he gets a lot of food, and my girl doesn't get a lot. But because he's the boss, I can just feed them together in the paddock. Yeah. And I fed them, and he had a look at his feed and then walked off and started eating hers, which is not really the idea. And I said, no, this is yours. And I grabbed him and I dragged him back over. He looked at his food and just went back over. And that happened a few times. And I said to him, what is your problem? Why are you not eating your food? And he said to me, it stinks. So I went back to his food and had a look, and, it looked all right. But right next to the feed bin was this massive horse poo, which was from my girl, because she does these huge elephant poos. And I thought, surely that can't be it. So I took the bin and I rolled it over and I grabbed him and I brought him back, and he just started eating. So that's how simple it is sometimes. We really worry, why is my horse not eating? What's wrong? Yeah. And sometimes it's as simple as that. And the only way we can find out is when we communicate. Behaviorists can't tell you those sort of things.
Yeah, well, it sounds pretty simple, doesn't it, when you think about it?
And it is. And, I always say horses or animals, they don't ask for a $10 million swimming pool. They want our time, or they want us to change little things. So it's not that we have to go to spend a lot of money to have our horses or our animals happy.
Yeah. What's the funniest dog story you got?
The funny what? Sorry.
A funniest dog story you've got?
With livestock?
No, dog.
A dog story.
Yep.
Well, that was probably Rosie who peed in the house.
Oh, okay.
I had another dog, a little sausage dog, and this dog, he was out of control. Every time they would go to work, he would destroy everything, and he was on anti-anxiety drug. And the problem is when they do that, from communicating with animals that are on drugs, they can't react anymore, but they still feel the same anxiety within them. Yeah. So we just communicated with him, found out what the issues were, what we can do to help him. We put him on some essential oils, and they took him off the drugs, and he was fine. Okay. So, that's really how we can help them. And he was a cheeky little bugger, he just had so much fun destroying everything.
Yeah, he was just loving it. That's no more, no less.
Yep, absolutely.
Someone's asking that you talk with chickens and ducks.
Absolutely. I had once a chicken that needed to have an operation, and the owners wanted to. And I mean, how beautiful is that people actually, spend the money to hear what the animals have to say, even a chicken. And she just wanted to know if that was what the chicken wanted to do, whether the chicken wanted to have the operation. And yes, chickens and ducks, they're no different than talking to any kinds of animals. It was actually funny. I had an animal communication course in Western Australia, and it was a 2-day course, and we said, just bring a plate to share for lunch. And I assumed people would bring vegetarian food, but I didn't specifically say it. And this one lady, she turned up with chicken wings, and I'm thinking, oh, shit, but you can't say anything because it was my stuff up, because I didn't request to bring anything vegetarian. And on the second day, we went out to talk to the animals that were on the farm, and there were some chickens. And when we came back in, she said, the chickens, they didn't want to talk to me. They were angry because I bought chicken wings. So,
damn straight.
Yep. So, it solved the issue by itself.
So the animal, I heard someone was talking with fish, and fish, they were asking about us eating other animals. I mean, I'm a vegan / vegetarian, but I heard someone talking to a fish, and the fish said that, we don't care because we eat fish. Are all animals like that, or some of them a bit funny?
I'm same as you. I just when I started communicating with animals, and you start realizing that what they actually know, and when they go on a truck, they know they're going to be killed. I mean, what a horrendous feeling that must be,
Yep.
And I was never a big meat eater. I hardly ate any anyway. But once I realized, how much they actually know, and I mean, the process of the animals to actually being killed when there's nothing wrong with them, like there's no nice thing about that, and yes, in the end they go, I might be eaten, but to be honest, I mean, that trauma to go through in that situation when you're in that animal and you're gonna be killed, like there's no nice about that at all.
And I guess they would know because we know. And
absolutely.
They connect with us all the time, and we don't even realize it.
Well, and I mean, as soon as like they go on a truck because they're gonna be killed, they know they're gonna be killed. So it's not just we go on a truck wherever we go, or if they go on a truck and they're not gonna be killed, they're going somewhere else. They know where they're going. And so I mean, you put yourself in their situation thinking, oh my God, I've only got, a few hours to live. How would you feel about that? Because they're healthy animals. There's nothing wrong with them.
Yeah. Never thought about that. But so you've got any is there anything else you want to add? Do you want to talk about it?
I think there's a lot of ways that people can start their own journey is just how they speak with animals, and even starting by saying yes and please and thank you to their animals, especially with horses. Often people just walk up to them and push them aside, and it's like, well, did you actually ask them? So you can start your own journey by talking to your animals, explaining to them what you're doing, and using things like please and yes and thank you, and also ask your animals what you want them to do rather what you don't want them to do, because it's a bit of the universe, whatever you're asking for is what you're getting. If you say to a dog all the time, don't bark, this dog just hears, oh, bark, she wants me to bark. Instead you could say, can you please sit on your bed quietly? So just always put every sentence what you're saying to your animals in a positive way.
Okay. I never thought of that. I'm going to try psychology on the other cat.
And you will see the difference it makes. I was lunging a horse once, and this horse kept coming in on the lunge, and I kept saying, don't come in. And I thought, hang on, that's wrong. And I said, can you please stay outside? And she was coming in probably 20 times. And as soon as I said that, she just went out and she never came back in. And I was like, sometimes I amaze myself.
I had a minute. The girl I was with had a miniature once, and we left this window open. And it was so funny. Had this miniature for like 2 days. Spunky Dunky, we called him. His name was Duncan. And then I just go in, and I go into we had a big bathroom, and I go into the bathroom. I'm about to go to the toilet, and I just look around, and there's just a miniature horse standing in the bathroom, just looking at me. And I'm like, little character he was.
And animals, they are funny. Some animals, they talk a lot. Some animals, they're very short and to the point. But we're different too. And I think something else I'd like to add as well is that some animal communicators say, oh no, the animal didn't want to talk to me. Why wouldn't they want to talk to us? We can make life better for them. So why would they not want to share their stories or share what's going on for them? And animal communication can't it's really animal communication is just working in with everything, because if you're taking an animal to the vets, you can then give them feedback to the vets as well and say, can you check for this or can you check for that? And just a quick interesting story, because I was talking to this horse and this horse said to me, the owner told me that this horse has head shaking, which is quite a severe condition. And when I talked to the horse said to me, I don't have head shaking. And I'm thinking, well, were you going against what the vet is saying? And I told the owner and she said, well, I never thought he has head shaking. And she said, I don't know what to do. I don't know how to fix him. He just, he's just not right. And he told me he was sore between the second and the third vertebrae. So I said, get the chiropractor in again, tell him where it is. The chiropractor knows my work, so you can tell him what the horse said. And so she rang him and she said, he's sore between the second and third vertebrae. And the chiropractor was like, he's never sore there. But he came back out, checked, he was sore between the second and the third vertebrae. And 3 weeks later, she went on to win her next event. That's how easy it is. And it's really working in with everything else, chiropractors, physios, vets. And if we have information from the animals, we can just make such a big difference to them.
I guess you'd have to be, if you're communicating with animals, sometimes you'd have to be subtle with the vet, because they would take offense to that.
Yes. Well, I do know of vets. As I said, I've got a few chiropractors that know of my work, horse dentists, and they know that if an animal says something, that's what we're going by, and we can listen to it. There's a vet and he knows about my work, and if an animal says something, they're open to it, And I think the longer, the more people become aware of it and realize that what a great tool it actually is.
Have you had many vets come to do your course?
I've had a few, yes. But it's a spiritual journey, and I mean, so many people these days are awakening.
Yeah.
And once they awaken, I had actually a really interesting guy in my course once. I have 95% women that do my course.
Yep.
I've had a few guys, and one of the guys in Western Australia, he was a total non-believer, and he turned up at my course because he was breeding fish, and he had big tanks with, I don't know, thousands of fish in there. And one night he woke up and he was just up and he was like, I need to go and check my fish. He never goes and check his fish at night. And he was like, he just felt he had to do that. And when he went to check his fish, the water had run out and they were that close of dying. And only because he went and checked them, he could save all their lives. So, and he was like,
they were screaming out.
Yep, they were screaming and they woke him. He never, ever would get up at night and check his fish. And that just made him realize, wow, there's just more to it, They were calling out for him.
Oh, wow. That's good. So, he was like, there's something there. There's something in that.
Yep. There's just another question there.
Yep.
Do the animals share their reincarnation stories? Yes, we can ask the animals, are they going to come back to us? A lot of people want to know, are the animals coming back to me? But what people need to realize, the animal is never going to come back in exactly the same form they were with us. They have different lessons for us. They come in a different form. So, sometimes they come in a different animal, or they have other things to do first. But often we have these soul contracts with animals, and so we often cross paths with them, in whether it's in this life or even in different lives. And we can certainly ask them what their journey is and whether they're going to come back to us. But as I said, we just need to be aware that it's never going to be the same. Often people recognize traits. They go, oh, my dog used to do that. Or even, my childhood dog used to do that. So definitely worth having a communication with and finding out, whether that's your animal that has been with you, or if they're coming back to you. But just be aware that they're not coming back in the same form that they were with you.
Yep. Well, your courses, you do online, in person?
Yes, I'm at the moment mainly. Yeah, at the moment mainly online. I've taught in Europe. As I said, normally I would go into state once a month, but it's just hard to organize, and
Yeah.
then restrictions and everything changes again. So at the moment I'm doing online courses. But yeah, because we can connect with animals wherever they are in this world, and even with people wherever they are, the in-person courses, no, sorry, the online courses work as well as the in-person courses. And yeah, I've had my clients connect with my animals, and it's absolutely, like even after a few lessons, they're doing so well getting specific information from my animals. And just a quick story, one of my mares, she was in a paddock when there was a problem with the pump. So the water in the trough was actually going down, and what was left in the bottom wasn't very nice. And I checked it on that day, and I thought, oh, I need to sort that out in the afternoon. And we had a course on the day. And she said to me, this horse is telling me something about the water. And I just had to laugh, because she's absolutely spot on. And even my old boy, he's always been in different paddocks, and he's always had shelters, but he's never had trees in his paddock. And once I moved him to a paddock with big trees, he said in the courses to all the people, he said he loves the big trees.
Oh, excellent.
And
So,
I've had him for 30 years, and he's never had those big trees, and that just meant so much to him. And that's what our animals, what makes them happy.
Yeah. Oh, that's brilliant. Now you've got some taster courses, haven't you, for people to get started on?
Yes, yeah, I've got a free mini course. We've got the next one coming up, I think, in March. But yeah, you can definitely send me a message, PM me. It's not open for registration just yet, but you can send me an email, and I can send you the details as soon as we got the next one coming up. And yeah, we just do a few exercises, and I just show people what it feels like, and also talking about how it works, and also, again, like getting the confidence up in people.
Yep. Oh, that's brilliant. All your show notes, all the website people, everything is in the show notes. So if you just click out of the show notes, you can get all the links. Dagmar's links to her website and email and Facebook. Thank you for coming on the show tonight. I've learned so much, and now I know that my cats aren't crazy. I was just a little bit.
Well, thank you so much for having me. And now you know how to talk to your cats, and that they understand everything.
Yeah, that's brilliant. That's brilliant.
And yeah, if you ever need help with the animals, just let me know. I'm more than happy to connect with them and pass on their messages.
Are you at the Blackwood Fair this weekend?
Yes, I'll be in Blackwood.
Okay, no worries.
So people can come and have live readings there, or they can just contact me through you or through my Facebook page, website.
Yep, I'll read them there. And because you can read off photos, and
yes, I probably do 90% of my readings through a photo, because I got clients all over the world, America, Canada, Europe. So mainly photos, but there's no difference. So if an animal communicator tells you, I have to see the animal, they're not truly telepathically connecting with them, because you don't actually have to see the animals. If you see the animals, people often, it's natural that you bring in your own interpretation of things. Like if you see a dog and he looks aggressive, you're like, oh, he's not a nice dog, or whatever it is. Where if you work off a photo, you really have to trust by what you're getting from them. And, often we see things on the outside, but it doesn't really mean that's what it is reflecting on the inside, Same with people, people look happy on the outside and they're depressed, and no one knows about it. Only they do. And the same with the animals. We need to talk to them to find out what really is going on.
Yeah.
Hang on. There's another question. Can I bring my dog to the fair? Yes, absolutely, Tracy. You can bring your dog, but you can also just bring a photo. I'm inside, I think. But if you can let me know that you're here, I can certainly come out and do a reading with your dog in person outside.
My head dog's a super sook.
Okay, and there's another message. Is my cat around me? I always feel my cats are from they dot when they pass over. Absolutely. I always, animals often say, they're still hanging around us and they're still there. Sometimes we we can't feel them. And it can be as well, if we're too emotionally attached, and if we're suffering, we're really upset about it, we sometimes miss the signs. But this is also something we can ask in a communication, can you send me a sign, or what signs are you sending me? So absolutely, your cats, I'm sure they will be hanging around you.
Excellent. Have you ever talked to George the Galah at the psychic fairs?
I'm not sure. Who's George?
Lisa's Galah that she takes with her sometime.
I've never met a galah at a fair.
Okay. I'm not sure if she takes him.
To do. Yeah.
Okay. Okay. Thank you very much again. It's been wonderful having you on the show. Just a wealth of information. Just people can just learning that it's just so much deeper than we all thought. And
you will have such a great relationship with your animals, if you get into it, and if you can just feel your animals.
And it also sounds like it will just help your spiritual walk everywhere else as well. Just
absolutely
connect you. Absolutely brilliant.
And with everything, you just you hear something and you think, oh, no, that doesn't resonate with me, and then you hear it again, and you hear it again, and you think, and that's how we all start our journey.
Yeah, just help train and just become more aware of everything in general.
Yep, absolutely.
Okay, thank you very much, Dagmar. It's been great to have you on the show.
Thank you very much.
Thank you for joining us, everyone, and we'll see you next week. Okay, thank you. See you later.
Okay, see ya. Bye.